So I thought I'd do a bit of a different video today. I'm gonna look back at some old trucks and do maybe a bit of a series on this because there's some pretty cool trucks, mainly Nitro ones, which came out back in the sort of late 2000s period, which I think are really cool and have unfortunately been discontinued in a very hard to find, but I'm quite interested in them. So the first one we're going to look at here today is the Team Associated MGT 3. This is basically a mini MGT 4.6. I'm pretty sure they do actually call it the mini MGT 3. It was released in November of 2007, as far as I can tell. And let's have a look at Team Associated's website here. This truck was also a Thunder Tiger S18. But unfortunately, the Thunder Tiger website doesn't have any of these trucks anymore. But the Team Associated website is really good, so we're going to be looking at the Team Associated version. But I'm pretty sure most of these stuff applies to the Thunder Tiger version as well. So they've got some good pictures here, which we'll have a look at later. But you can see this is a Nitro 10th scale car, 4-wheel drive, came RTR back in the day. It's a really cool truck actually. It's got a lot of features for a 10th scale. You don't really see any like this anymore. You can see it has a 2-speed transmission with reverse, and this is on a 10th scale, so that is pretty awesome actually. It does have 8 shocks like the full-size 4.6 version as well, which is pretty cool. You can see here on their website that they have a thing from March 2008 from Radio Control Car Action magazine, and they actually did a speed radar gun test at 41.1 miles an hour, which is pretty quick. Obviously we didn't have little GPSs back then like we do now that are pretty cheap and you could just chuck on your car anywhere, so the only way to do it was to get a speed radar gun, which I think was around about 250 quid when I got into RC. I can remember seeing them on eBay. They were pretty expensive, so not many people had them. Obviously this magazine did, because obviously they must have had a decent budget and they would have used it a lot, so it made sense for them to buy. So 41 miles an hour is pretty quick with a 2-speed and a 3cc engine. That's pretty nice. It did have dual brakes as well, so a bit like the HPI Savage in the bigger version. Metal geared servos. Quite a lot of the servos were plastic geared back then, so I guess that's alright. We've been through the 2-speed transmission, but this interestingly also has a slipper clutch system as well. It also has 14mm hexes, so at the time I think the Savage X might have moved to 17mm hexes, but I'm pretty sure the previous version of the Savage had 14mm, and same with the Traxxas T-Max, so there would have been plenty of wheels and tyres that would have fit on this for 10th scale. It is quite a big 10th scale though, I have to say that. It is more like T-Max size, to be honest. They also had the 110cc fuel tank, which is a pretty decent size for a 10th scale. I know my Nitro MT only had a 75cc fuel tank and it doesn't last very long even with a 15 FE, and with the G3 like the MT2 HPI MT2 G3 and the Firestorm, they only have like a 75cc fuel tank as well, and they don't last very long. So that 110cc I reckon would be good for 10 minutes on this truck, which is pretty nice. It did come with a glow igniter and a fuel bottle, so this was pretty much had some AA batteries in the receiver pack and then add fuel and you were good to go, which is pretty nice. It does also tell you the gear ratio, which is quite cool as well. Go on the specifications page here, so you can see the dimensions here. Like I say, it's pretty similar to a T-Max or maybe a E-Savage, which was the brushed electric Savage. Maybe even the Savage 21 was about this size as well. It might be a little bit smaller than that. And it was quite light at 3.6 kilograms. It's heavy for a 1/10 truck, but it is quite light compared to some of the 1/8 trucks. I think that's because the wheels probably a little bit smaller. So let's move on to the pictures. It has got a great section with plenty of high-res pictures, and I've opened some of these that are of interest. So let's have a look at these. Pretty first thing is a cool running shot. They've got a picture of the actual truck. This is the one that was on the front of the box, and I think it looks pretty awesome in that picture. Unlike Tamiya, where they do the box art and then you build it and then it's nothing like the thing on the box because it's rubbish. It's just plastic toy grade junk. That actually looks cool, and this dirt surface looks great to run on as well. So you can see this second picture, you can see how big it is compared to the 4.6. It's quite a bit lower overall height, and also the length isn't as big. You can see the difference in the tyre height as well is quite substantial there, and it is quite a lot shorter wheelbase. But you can see it's still got the same overall shape, and the Team Associated rival MT, the electric one, which is out now, actually carries on this kind of body shape, which is pretty cool. The tyres on this truck are definitely better looking, I think, than the 4.6 version. The 4.6 version has the chevron tyres, whereas this has more like Proline Badlands style tyres, although they're not really. But I reckon these tyres would have gripped pretty well. Not your basic flat chassis. I'm guessing it'd be quite difficult to work on, but it does look pretty cool. So this is the first close-up I wanted to look at. You can see all of the screws, Phillips head screws. Well, a lot of them are, but it uses hex heads for the shocks for some reason, even though the bottom of the shocks are still Phillips as well. You can see the body post system is a tilting one, which is quite nice, save the body a little bit. And interestingly, the shape of these arms is really, really weird. It's like sort of gullwing shaped. So most modern cars have very flat arms, and this one's got sort of very wavy arms. Same with the top as well, they're a very interesting shape. So the suspension geometry is pretty cool on this car. It's also very narrow in the middle, a bit like a Traxxas Revo. So this is a shot of the rear end. The links on this truck to stop the rear from steering, because it does look like it uses the same steering blocks at the front and the back. It does look a little bit weedy. That's probably 3mm, judging by the shock shafts, 3 or 4mm. I'm guessing these are 3mm shock shafts as well. And it does look like it's got CVDs, but I'm pretty sure they're actual universals, which you can see here. So the truck does have universal drive shafts on all 4 corners, as well as going from the centre to the front and rear as well, which is pretty nice. And you can see the pillow ball suspension here, same like you get on an Armour now. It's very, very common these days. And interestingly, the upper arm has some weird mounting positions there. I don't know whether that was for a sway bar system of some kind, but I don't really know what they're for, but it's got some weird like mounting positions, and you can see the strange shape of the arm there as well. You can also see it came with rubber seal bearings on the outside at least. A lot of trucks now, I know Armour have just upgraded to rubber seal bearings, but a lot of them come with metal shield bearings and they just die instantly, so that's kind of sad. So you can see here we have got some rather interesting setup going on. You've got your electronics around the front there, so I'm guessing your battery goes in over there in the radio box with your radio. And then interestingly, the servo doesn't have a proper servo saver. It's one of those servo horns, and they're pretty rubbish. If you put a modern servo in there, it would probably be springing that servo saver all the time. So if they did a modern version of this, it'd be much better if they made a proper servo saver with it. You can also see the shock layout with all 8 shocks on there is looking pretty good, and the fuel tank perched on the side, and it is kind of looks like it's falling outside of the chassis here, but it does bring the weight a little bit lower. But you've got to wonder, if you landed on a rock or something right in the middle, would it smash into that or what? You can see the fuel tank isn't L-shaped like the Savage either, so you wouldn't get that center tank lean problem. And it is a decent size as well. I would say a Firestorm or MT2 tank's probably only about up to here, and it is a decent sized fuel tank. You can also see the throttle linkage here as well is pretty cool because it goes all the way down the truck and then pivots just here. I'm not sure where the reverse is. I think the reverse or the braking is down here, but there aren't really any good pictures of the reversing or the brakes or underneath of the truck at all, really. So the engine itself is obviously a 0.18 3cc. It looks like a bit like a HPI G3, which is obviously made by Force, but this is a Thunder Tiger engine. And you can see it had the pull start without the rotor start on, because I think the 8.0 and the 4.6 versions came with like a pull start and a rotor start in one. You can also see the side exit exhaust, and it is bent around quite a lot and at quite a sharp angle, which isn't ideal, but at least it is kind of curved and it doesn't just come straight out with like 90-degree bends, because that would be horrible. The fuel line routing is also pretty interesting. The air filter as well, I noticed in the manual, is actually a dual stage air filter, so that's good to see as well, keeping the dirt out. And you can also see the chassis in quite a lot of detail here is just like stamped aluminium. It looks pretty low quality, but I bet with all of these bolts and plastic parts sort of bolted onto it, it's probably pretty rigid. And same with the engine mount as well. The engine mount bolted onto that will help it be a bit more solid. Finally, we've got a look here from the other side of the truck, and you can see the gear cover is actually clear, which is probably really helpful. So you know if you've stripped your spur gear, and the 2-speed is a 2-speed on the bell as well, rather than a sealed 2-speed transmission like what you get in a Savage or my Hyper MT. So I don't really know how the reverse works on this, to be honest. I would have to look in the manual, which I only had a quick scan over. And this also has a slipper clutch. You can see the slipper plate which pushes against the clutch there, and I think there's a nut on the end just here to adjust the tension of that. And quite a lot of the forum posts I was reading while researching for this video, it seems like a lot of people had a loose slipper clutch and were wondering why it wasn't moving, even though the gear mesh was good and all the drive shafts were good. So I'm guessing these slipper clutches were set too well from the factory, which is quite amusing. It does have a rotary carb rather than a slide carb as well. I bet if they'd put a slide carb on this engine, they wouldn't have actually needed this pivoting piece here, because they could have just had a really long linkage that went over there and then pull the carb in and out, and I think that probably would have been better, to be honest. Also, the exhaust is a really weird shape because of the sort of sideways engine, and it is mashed up against the rear tower. So I think if they'd made the truck even just 10 or 15 millimeters longer, that's like half an inch, I think they would have got a much better performance out the exhaust. It's interesting that they went for a rear exit that's quite high up rather than a downward exit as well, because when you're braking in the engine, that exhaust is really going to fill up with all of the oil, the sort of excess oil that you get from braking it in, which isn't going to be too great. Whereas if it was pointing down like it is on a HPI Savage 4.6, it'd probably clean out a lot better. But I guess after you've broken it in, it doesn't really matter anyway. That's a quick look at the Team Associated MGT 3, which was the Mini MGT 3.0. And yeah, it looked like a pretty cool truck from back in the day. I don't think many people bought it, but I think it was a pretty cool looking truck. It was probably quite expensive because with all this technology like the 2-speed and the reverse and all these universal drive shafts, the pillow ball setup, 8 shocks. I can't see it being any cheaper to actually make and produce than the 4.6 and the 8.0 version, which is a bit of a shame, really. I think if they'd gone with 4 big bore shocks and maybe more conventional suspension, just with a normal steering block and a C-hub at the front and then a hub at the back, that might have made it a little bit cheaper and probably better as well, because these plastic bodied small shocks are normally not the best. And also when you have to upgrade and replace bits, you have to buy 8 instead of 4, and it just adds extra costs. So I don't really know why they did stuff like that, to be honest. But yeah, it's a cool little truck. I'll definitely be looking out for one of these in the summer. If you've owned one of these trucks, post in the comments below whether it was great or whether it sucked. If you've got any more interesting information about it, also put that in the comments below as well. I'll put some links in the video description to some running videos of these if you want to watch any, if I can find any, because there aren't very many of these about. And yeah, that's it for this one. Goodbye.